In terms of abstraction, I wanted to respond to some of the issues that Cameron brought up, where she starts out by saying the baffling part is why? Why simplify things down so much? And I love the way she phrased this. It made me think, why even have they made this at all? And the example, as she poses with that question, is the sculpture by Brancusi, The Newborn. It's a great example to think about abstraction for a number of reasons, particularly how absolutely reduced it is, as Cameron says. So I love where she says, how does she describe it? She's using the skill of descriptive analysis to talk about why it seems too reduced. It frankly looks just like a polished stone with one flat side and some nicks in it. That's an awesome thing to do when you're talking about modern art, is to actually characterize what it is about it that seems to be alien. Alien means foreign to our expectations, foreign to what art has done previous to this time. So her description is very good. It really does seem just like a stone that maybe has some nicks and shavings off of it. Interestingly, it's also made in metal, because Brancusi, one of the things that he did in his process of abstracting was to experiment with different forms in different materials. And I also want to point out this photograph from the Museum of Modern Art, because it shows you a very early sculpture he made called A Sleeping Child, one of his first, and how that was an example of him already thinking about a theme, but look at how he carried it so much further by reducing it, making it ever more abstract. And that abstraction is definitely a removal, back to our theme of lack, of losing things. As Cameron says here, there is no indicating characteristics that would tell me otherwise. No, look at the nose, no color, no pattern, no specific silhouette. These very specific points are really getting at how much is being negated by this moment of art, the negation of things we want to have there. And then why? It comes back to her question, why? Why do that? And she quotes Brancusi. It's always so rich to work with an artist's own statements, of course. Brancusi states, what is real is not the external form, not the appearance of things. Think back to the beginning of the course, when Vermeer was so amazingly good at the appearance of things, when David could give you the appearance of every muscle in a neoclassical body. But Brancusi says that's not what's real. What our eyes see isn't what's real. Actually, what's real is the essence. And if you know that, it is impossible to express anything real by imitating its surface. You cannot imitate the look of things to get at reality. And so it's interesting where Cameron went next with that, in thinking through that quote, making explicit the implications of Brancusi's idea. She says, okay, the feeling or essence, as he puts it, of how something makes us feel, or its core meaning, where his sculpture is seeming nonsensical, its true essence lies in its form. And then her mind goes, okay, its form and egg shape. And then her mind leaps. What is an egg? An egg is what formulated life, the beginning of life. She's making leaps of the imagination. And one of the things that abstract art does is it provokes you into making leaps of the imagination that way, which is a possible reason for why. Why do it this way? Because you are no longer a passive viewer who is just comfortably seeing the imitation of appearances. You now, as a viewer, are having to make linkages. Your mind is active from form to egg as life, the idea of the essence of life. And this is like poetry, because really great poetry doesn't just tell you an idea or express something. It makes you aware of the language itself. The language, that's why rhyme is important to poetry, the way you feel the rhymes. It makes you attentive to the sounds of the words. Poetry uses metaphor to get you expressing a feeling in relationship to a new way of seeing it. You could say that abstraction allows for more poetry and less literal statements.